Hello, welcome to my latest film, entitled Fishermans Mission Open Day, Grimsby Docks, 1990. It's not a railway film, however the railway companies built the docks and managed them until the late 1960s. I took this opportunity to film areas of their control. The Fishermans Mission was a charity that worked to support the local fishing community, and open days were fundraising events. On display were stalls selling local products and cheap fish. There were sideshows, raffles, auctions, craft demonstrations, water displays, access to trawlers and the dock tower. We begin at the display's entrance on the north wall. This is fish dock number 3. It was opened on the 4th of October 1934 by the London and North Eastern Railway Company to provide relief from congestion in the waters of the other two fish docks. It was to be used mainly for fueling steam trawlers and for supplying, servicing and repairing fishing vessels. On this special day, Associated British Ports had opened the dock to the public, and local people made their way towards trawlers moored alongside the north wall. A large audience had gathered to watch young dancers showing off their skills. It was the first display the crowd came across as they made their way along the wall that separated the docks from the River Humber. The dancers, belonging to the Clifton Dance group, were managed by Keith and Judy Clifton. They had gained their skills at dance classes held every week for people of all ages in locations around Grimsby and Cleethorpes. The energetic youngsters provided the crowd with a selection of dance routines at various intervals throughout the day. Amongst the group were my daughter Lucy and young Kevin and Joanne Clifton. The large marquees in the background were used for arts and craft demonstrations. The most popular ones were basket making and crafts required by the fishing industry, such as net making and repair. There were also numerous stalls selling local products. The most busiest was the one selling cheap fish. A few of the Grimsby trawlers were open to the public, allowing visitors to look around the bridge and the decks of the vessels on display. In the central area of activities on the north wall, there were stalls for light refreshments and snacks. This double-decker bus was being used as a cafe. This young man is my son Darren. These trawlers were moored on the South Quay slipways and jetties of fish dock number 3. The Highrise Flats in the background were located in the East Marsh area of Grimsby. crews on these small vessels in the dock were entertaining the public by showing off their sailing skills. These trawlers, viewed from the opposite end of the north wall, are moored where vessels now get their fuel. These lock gates connects the fish docks from the River Humber. Towards the left is the old dockmaster's office, now used by the gate operator. The jetty on the left, known as Campbell's Jetty, separates numbers 2 and 3 fish docks. Fish dock number 2 cannot be seen from this view. In front of us is the quayside of fish dock number 1, the area of the original fishing craft dock that was opened in 1856. As it was the weekend, there was no activity on the pontoon. We are now in the landside area of the fish docks, known as the North End. It leads to the fish sheds and fish market pontoon alongside Warncliffe Road. This is the area where fish merchants prepared fish for market. There must be thousands upon thousands of stories to be told. Mine is that on August the 4th, 1959, at just 15 years old, I started work on the railways in this area where trains were loaded up with fish. As we looked down Warncliffe Road, the railway tracks in concrete were still in place. Motor vehicles had taken over the transport of fish during the late 1960s. On this day, many lorries and vans were positioned alongside the pontoon in readiness for Monday's market. Although it was Fish Dock Open Day, the public were allowed access to see the dock tower. My daughter Lucy, wife Susan and my niece Charlotte took the opportunity.
Where's it now? I've finally looked at the dock tower. I've never ever touched it in my life.
Grimsby Royal Dock was built by the Manchester, Sheffield and Lincolnshire Railway Company, opening on the 27th of May 1852. Dock Tower, over 300 feet high, was built as a water tower for working hydraulic machinery. It became a well-known landmark and a welcome sight for returning mariners. On the other side of its wall is a plaque paying tribute to the seamen of the minesweeping crews of the Second World War, in which Grimsby trawler crews played a large part. The tower has since become a Grade 1 listed building. These are the two locks that regulate ships and boats into and out of Grimsby Royal Dock. From the River Humber, the left-hand side lock is the smallest. This is the largest lock. Arriving in the tidal basin is one of the pilot boats that work on the River Humber. It's most probably arriving to change crews. This is the western pier of the tidal basin. Having most probably changed crews, the Humber pilot boat returns to the river to guide ships in and out of local ports. The cranes seen here on the Royal Dock Western Quay were being used for loading and unloading steel. This clip, taken about a year before the open day, shows a quayside crane loading steel from a ship into a railway wagon. On the southern side of Royal Dock are the dock offices. They were built by the Manchester, Sheffield and Lincolnshire Railway Company in 1886 and were still in use. This is the eastern side of the Royal Dock. There were signs all over the dock of when the railway company was in control. These stop blocks were situated near to the old Royal Dock Railway Station, and this is a London and North Eastern Railway poster describing the bylaws of the dock, which presumably were still in force. Looking from the western pier, an empty crude oil tanker rides the waves of the River Humber. I thought this last clip, which I took in the late 1990s, would be relevant to this short film. It was taken from the deck of a trawler as it was arriving from the River Humber into Grimsby's fish docks.